So I'm live. I fly around whenever I feel like it. And last night I was out in the middle of the night. A lot of I stay up all night sometimes. I don't like to annoy people, and I like the late night crowd. You know, the kind of people who show up at 3 in the morning ready to party. That's me. And so I was out there. I arrived at the flying parking lot. It wasn't, not a field. Usually it's a parking lot. And so you know you're going to get some serious damage when you have a malfunction or a crash. Um, so I got there around 3 in the morning, and by the time I crashed, it was around 5, I guess, about 5 in the morning. And there's nothing really particularly unusual about it. It wasn't a failsafe, which that makes me quite happy. I was having a little persistent issue with failsafing for a while there, but that was just the design of the antennas. The bad design on my part. So I dropped. Oh man, I had a terrible night last night. I dropped my phone first of all, and destroyed the screen. You can't really tell, but this is my replacement camera for the one I broke last week. I go years without a car accident or a phone uh, claim, insurance claim, and now I've got two in the same quarter. You know, people kill me with this. I don't have to worry. People keep me in check. You'll never see me selling anything at price gouging prices. Yeah, I mean, I know it's partially a learning curve. People aren't always doing this on purpose. But if I see another noob copter like that, whatever you call it, priced higher, used noob copter, priced more than a brand new one on Amazon, I guess I'll just laugh out loud. Nothing else to do, but yeah. So, but whenever I sell something, it's like people are there to check up on me and make sure I'm not doing stuff like that and make uninformed comments and things. Anyway, whatever. I'm not selling anything right this moment. I am doing some other things, including triage. Triage. Uh, I buy things in bulk. So this is, I think, my fifth one of these. If I could get them for $100 a piece, I might get five of them and just leave it like that. I don't like waiting for the slow boat to ship, and they're selling the VX140 for $100 right now. So that's a top slow week for me. And by slow and weak, I mean it's 3,100 kV motors. It's not going to win any races. It's not going to win any beauty contests. But it's tough. I flew this in the parking lot and I crash it all the time. I rarely fly this thing over grass. And I crash it all the time. Any of the other quads I have would probably be powder, carbon fiber powder by now. I'm going to throw this in the trash. I'm sorry for my messy shop, but I'll explain myself in a minute. I'll be back. I'm in the process of going through a life change, I guess you'd say. First of all, I'm 45 years old now, so I'm going through that obvious situation. Oh man, it's so dirty over here. But I've been running a live sound reinforcement company for a number of years now, and I'm trying to get out of the business because it hurts. It physically hurts. And I've watched some good men needlessly injured and maimed in this. This is not a hobby. This is a job. You know what I mean? Live sound reinforcement, and I've seen a lot of good men get hurt and injured in this game, and they're all right around my age. So I'm saying it's time for me to get out. If I can't find a reliable crew of young men to do the physical part for me, I've got no business doing this. It's like I'm gonna get injured, just like everyone else said. waiting for my beer. I haven't had my daily beer yet, so I'm real irritable and angry. Just kidding. Um, it's been a great day this morning talking to people on Rotor Riot. Man, Rotor Riot's so fun. There's so many fucking cool people there, man. Matty Stunts is there. Cool guy, man. Been cool for a long time. I just remember watching his videos of stunt bike shit. It was a long time ago, it seems like now, but it was less than maybe 5 or 10 years. It wasn't that long ago. I still had gray hair and beard and shit. But he's got that mind for choreography of sick stunts, man. Okay. Breakfast is served. I'm waiting for my beer delivery from Amazon Prime. They always bring me my beer. Can't wait till cannabis is legal here so they can bring me my morning weed too. In the meantime, I'm gonna eat my breakfast right quick. About an hour late, but whatever. Mmm, now that's fucking delicious. So, triage on the 3 inch. I got a backup one of these over there, and one that is destroyed. Plenty of spare parts. And my plan is to not only keep one or two of these in the air at all times, at least one. There's one in the backup. I also want to build one from scratch and modify one. So I want one bone stock with the change of just having a run cam split, maybe, or maybe some other better HD camera on top, and one completely built from scratch with HDLRC stack instead of this Furby stack, and HDLRC motors instead of the Furby motors. That's what I plan on doing with these guys this summer, and test it. And depending on what happens with the rest of the industry, probably release my own, or at least have my own perfected version of my own tank 3 inch by the end of the summer. So I'll know what parts are best and everything. Do we want to use the HDLRC frame, which is a one-piece frame, or do we want to use this kind of frame, which is 4 separate arms, sandwich plate, and a top plate? I'm leaning for this, but at the same time, I've gone from having failsafe related crashes and noob related crashes to now not enough power related crashes, which again is near my frustration zone limit. Failsafe related crashes, I cannot put up with those. That's no fun for anybody. You know what I mean? Um, Crashing because you don't have enough power is in the same category as failsafe. It's not necessarily your bad pilot skills. It's just you need an upgrade. Basically, you need a more powerful rig. As I grow and learn as a pilot and become more aggressive with my choices of where to fly and what to do with the sticks, I'm realizing, damn, I'm outgrowing this thing rapidly in a way. And considering that this is my favorite 3-inch frame, and I have four of them already, I don't want to hear that. I don't want that to happen. I want to be able to stick with this, so I'm going to need bigger motors. The main thing I hate about the HDLR RC frame, which is the 3-inch 140 version, just like this, except it's a one-piece bottom. The thing I hate about that frame is, wow, I can't remember right off the dip, but I'll put it like this. This one, with the multi-piece, uh, with the individual arms, has held up better than I think the one-piece would. Now, for 5 inches, it's just the opposite. Kind of contradicting myself. But in my mind, based off of my experiences, that Dark Max frame is the strongest. It seems like once you get up to 5-inch frames and 4 millimeter thick, any thicker than that on those one piece, and you're getting near bulletproof. But with the 3-inch drones, I've found that the size is so different, you can't compare them to the 5-inch drones. So the question of one piece or arms is different. Depends on the weight of it and a bunch of other things. The Baby Hawk R taught me this. It's so small and lightweight that it doesn't have a lot of inertia, but it's so frail. The arms are shittily cheaply built. Kebab FPV, I'm with you on that. The fiber is not in the most optimal way for strength, and it's flexible. And I break a lot of arms on the Baby Hawk R3. So that's pushing me towards one piece being stronger, but it's taught me that these arms are trivial to replace on the Baby Hawk R3 on these 3 inches. Trivial. Even if you're not a good solderer, you might just have to tack one motor wire back down, take it apart a little bit, put that new arm on there. It's easier, I think, and it's less expensive to just replace the arm. Now, if they had a little bit better frame and you could just take the arm out without having to disassemble the whole thing, that would be even better. But it's not quite that easy. But in my experience, I was able to complete a Baby Hawk R3 build while I was on the Amtrak going to New York and in a cramped hotel in New York and stuff like that. So I kind of like the 3-inch ones with the ability to change single arms at a time because unlike the 5-inch, in my experience, I'm probably going to destroy that whole thing, explode it, in other words. So the arms is not going to help me. But the little ones, I just landed too hard, and now I've broken an arm. Just an arm, not a motor, not bent bell or shaft, just an arm. Replace it, I'm back in the air. So, and it's the same thing with this one right here. This got run over by a car. Not this specific one. Another one got run over by a car. Now, if this was a one-piece frame, that's game over. But it got run over by a car, and I still have parts I can use from the frame because they're separate pieces. It destroyed two arms, but it didn't destroy the sandwich plate. It didn't destroy the top plate, the standoffs, or the two rear arms. So I think about that. In a catastrophic crash that I've experienced, um, the modular arms came out on top over the one-piece arms. For that reason, salvageability. Had this been a one-piece frame like the HDLRC 4-inch, 3-inch, sorry, I'd have been throwing it all in the trash Probably. You know what I mean? Probably all of it in the trash. So, except for the stack, I'm assuming, which be protected. So for me, I started out flying dumb quads like the DJI Spark, which I still love, and the AO Cinema CG35, which I still love. I've rebuilt the AO Cinema 35 from scratch one time. I mean, complete disassembly and reassembly with new parts, and it taught me this. For the most part, the frames are inexpensive. For the most part, the electronics are more expensive. For the most part, the electronics are harder to put together and stuff. So really, the AO Cinema body was made and designed to deform and crunch up it like a crumple zone, while it pr- pr- protects those ESCs, which are on the arm in there, protects the ESCs, which it did, the wiring, the flight controller, all the all-in-one shit that's on the board, and the separate pieces. That body was destroyed. The plastic was bent up and cracked and broken and unusable, but all the stuff on the inside was in pristine condition. So it made me realize, wow, these frames are ugly, but they're functional. Um, and even the carbon fiber frames, to a degree, are designed to self-sacrifice, starting with the tips. And this is my favorite thing here, because I fly in parking lots. I love urban environments, and I love flying in parking lots. I love rural areas too, but I'd rather look for my shit in a parking lot than in 4 feet of grass. So take the good with the bad. You see all this road rash on the bottom of it, and my props are ruined. I gotta change those. Need a new arm here. Might need a new whole stack after last night's crash. It was pretty catastrophic. I sheared off a entire screw head for my stack. Um, Luckily, my antenna, I used hot glue for the first time. I got a new hot glue gun. And my antenna and my setup with my receiver is much more robust than ever before. Um, and it survived a crash. This crash was horrible. I'm so sad that I did not get the video in any way. I had 4 cameras running. I had my Spark flying, and I didn't get the video because I didn't think um, to use the custom settings on the Spark, which would allow me to choose which channels to use so that I would limit the interference with my 5.8 signal. Man, every time I turned the Spark on, it would just wash out my signal to my goggles almost completely. So I couldn't fly my uh, VX140 while my Spark was in the air as a camera observer, which is very disappointing. I'm gonna try it again because I'm sure I could do a better job and lessen the interference just by carefully selecting the channels I'm using instead of letting it auto search for channels and do what it wants. It's always gonna pick the highest signal um, strength, but I'm gonna have to change that if I want to use my Spark to uh, to film my race drone. You know, I'm gonna have to figure a way to to limit the interference from that with the 5.8 gigahertz signal of the race drone. So I had all these cameras running, a GoPro, SQ12 and SQ11 and SQ8, my smartphone, which I promptly dropped on the ground and shattered the screen, second time in a month, and yeah, I had 5 cameras going and didn't catch this. Spectacular crash. Most spectacular crash I've ever had. Uh, I use adhesives, and I just turned down buying the Umagod adhesive battery strap because I've got my own 3M that I've been using successfully. But you have to pay attention to anything you do in this hobby. And oh shit, I fucked up my battery a little bit more than I thought I did. I took my eye off the ball, and either I didn't uh, strapped the battery up well enough with the adhesive, or I wasn't paying attention and it crashed and became unloose. Anyways, it came unloose from the adhesive and from these worthless straps here, which are basically almost for decoration, but they're to augment the adhesive. There's no sense in just using the adhesive alone. At least have something. And it works. I mean, it works wonders. But for whatever reason I crashed or whatever, it wasn't secure. So then it flopped out, and so the quad was going like this, hit the ground. I was able to recover. I should have just crashed then, because the second crash was 100 times worse. Uh, the flight controller was agitated. The vibrations began to hit the gyro, and I lost control of the throttle because the pit loop was reacting against things that weren't really there because of all the crazy vibration and shaking and what's the battery's inertia is doing to the thing. And it just spun faster and faster. Like I thought, did I lose an arm? And because I've seen like on the TED Talks, one of the quad experts back in the day cut one of the arms off. Whatever, had his quad fly on three motors because the fourth motor was basically the torque from the whole entire quad spinning, you know, and it maintained its controllability because of that. And that's what happened to me. It was spinning like that, but all four motors were spinning, and it was also the whole quad was spinning, and the battery inertia just fucked everything up as far as the throttle. I could tell it which way to go, but I couldn't tell it to go down. I eventually had to disarm in midair, and the battery never came undone. That's a testament to these connectors, which XT60. I don't see a brand name on there. It's not MS, I don't think, which is a common brand. Um, I don't know what brand these are, but man, did it hold my. This is an MS XT60 connector. As you can see, I used cable ties or zip ties to fix the strain relief right here to this rear arm. So no damage was done to the actual battery connection on the flight ESC. I mean, no damage was done at all. It was perfectly survivable crash, other than the fact that I did not stay down. I got back up and that made it worse. But you know, you always say disarm every time you hit something, but then there's times when it's just like wearing a seatbelt. You know, in a car. Sometimes the seatbelt's going to save you. Sometimes it's going to trap you in a burning wreck. This time I was trapped in a burn. I don't know, but yeah, this cable tie right here, this zip tie, held fast and kept the strain relief right there on the arm. Didn't damage the arm, saved the battery, probably kind of saved the quad, I guess, because I could have had this happen 50 feet up, and instead of having that dangle time in the initial crash, it could have just been a 50-foot drop to the pavement. Uh, Either way, now today is the next day, and it's time to check out the damage. So that's what I'm doing. Um, I love this frame style. Let me show you the sacrificial tips here. That's the start of it. Uh, the sacrificial tips in front of the motors protect the bells. Because as a noob, I had a lot of problems with getting the bells bent out of shape. This is my official noob copter. As far as this is my first race drone. My first drone was a Spark or the AO Semi CG35 or the Ghost F111 Force One. They all came at the same time, basically. Once I was bit by the bug, it was over. Off to the fucking races. But I've changed the motors and arms on this because I break a lot of arms on this because I was just learning acro when I had this. And but mainly I bend bells. This bell is bent right here, for example. You see how they spin a little more freely. You know, most of them you just tap them, but this one barely gives you a full 360 rotation on a tap. And this is one of the original Florian motors. I've replaced them with Hobby Sky 2204, 2204, 2300 kV. I think these are 2300 kV, but they're not labeled. Could be anything. But they work. These cheap ass, less than $10 motors work. This old ass Naze 32 flight controller works, sort of. I'm not gonna give that the thumbs up because man, don't buy a Naze 32. You know, whatever people are saying is your cheap build, you can do better. think for yourself. Become educated on your own. Don't just listen to the reviewers. Think for yourself. Be your own man. You'll have a much more rewarding experience with the whole thing if you do that. But if your life is just cluttered up and fucking you just need a minute, then ignore my advice and just have fun. That is the bottom line. Just have fun. So I'll put this back over here. It's funny how you grow in the hobby just like everything else. Like I used to think that thing was the shit, like the coolest thing ever. Now it's like I respect it for the new copter design that it is and the new catcher that it is, but that's about it. So back to this frame here. There's damage on there, as you can see. Um, but yeah, I've got spares. I've just bought another spare frame. I'll probably buy another one of these and another spare frame because it's just too good to pass up. When I get in the zone and remember what it is, remember that it's underpowered and stop trying to be such a Top Gun and just fly it for what it is. Like I did day before yesterday and got some nice dive into building shots, you know. But last night I was a little too aggressive on the throttle. Had a couple, I just didn't have enough power. I wasn't, I had some sag, battery sag. I wasn't obeying that. I should have landed and said, okay, this battery is done. You're sucking too much juice out of it. But I tried for 5 minutes and it was flying on a flat battery. So and damaged props. Now these props are totally dead. So before I go ahead and start this, I'm going to take these props off and I'm going to decide. I'm waiting for some replacement props, a whole set, because right now I've only got the stock props and some cheap uh, practice props here. So it's not a desirable situation, but they're on the way and the new props should be here this week. Um, right now, this is my only choice for my favorite 3-inch. They're both 3-inch props with 3-inch pitch. About as boring as you can get. And on 4S, it's terrible. I'm about to bring this thing to life, and I really don't care about the effect on the motor. I'm ready to go to 5S batteries. I'm so tired of being underpowered. Uh, the only thing about the 5S is this thing is limited at 25 amps times 4. On a good day, it's 20 amps times 4, but I've seen it pushed past that. I've pushed it past that and it survived. So we're going to try the 3-inch props with the 5-inch pitch. That's what I've ordered from GemFan. So that's going to be what I'm flying next. If I'm flying at all. I might be waiting to activate that one. And put this one on injured reserve. But we'll see. I'm going to test this out. I need my toolbox. And I need a joint. And I'm also going to be testing the ground station and my goggles because I dropped, not only did I drop my phone last night and break the screen, I dropped my goggles and possibly damaged them too. So I might need a new pair of goggles. I've been putting off buying Fat Sharks because I don't like the attitude of the clueless guy who runs it. Not clueless in terms of the sport or technology. But I don't, anyway. Let me go ahead and do this. I need a joint. Where is my weed? Right there. I hate it when that happens. My place is such a wreck. Such a mess. Okay. I've already started this process. My place is such a wreck I can't even make heads or tails of it. Alright, so here's my little toolbox. I need that. Start. Use that. Pull that out. And let's get something playing in the background here. It's too much light in here to really see what's going on with my projector screen over there. But here are the props I have to choose from: the 3030s with the slightly more efficient bull prop, whatever, and this one is the totally bull nose, not efficient. But they're both all right. They're both passable. Suck, but passable. Um, I'm really hopeful for these other props to come in and change the world. If not, I will be considering, looking for my exit, because I don't stick with these things forever. Once I've learned what I can learn from it, it's time to go to a different model. But that's just how I do it. Man, I hate to have to get these off by putting my finger in there. That shit hurts. But if you do, try to get as close to the prop hub as you can, I guess. Nothing helps. Nothing helps. When you do that, it hurts. It hurts bad. Ugh, okay. There we go. So, deprop this guy, and I so badly damaged one of the prop shafts that I can hardly get the nut on by hand anymore, because it's gone. The threads are gone. The first 3 rows of threads are completely disintegrated in another grind the pavement crash. But as long as the bells are not whistling, and like the lamination's good, and the shiny magnets are still in the bell, then it's going to keep flying here. I am concerned about that ESC. I might have destroyed the 4-in-1 ESC last night. Also worried about that gyro, how it's going to be able to cope going forward. Definitely need to check the motor mount screws, because they could any and all be screwed. All my C-clips are still there. That's a good thing. So, spinning and take a look. It doesn't look too crazy. I don't see anything looking too crazy, or nothing feels too crazy. We'll see how it goes. Check these props out. This one is damaged. This one is damaged. This one is not so damaged, but bent. So they were all bent, and it's nicks on the leading edge or the trailing edge. I tend to put them in the used backup last resort box over here. And as you can see, this is my last resort prop box. In there, we've got an assortment of props that I've definitely flown out. Flown them all before, but I didn't throw them out because most of them are in some kind of flyable condition or close, could be bent into shape or filed down to be not as good as new, but better than nothing at all. So either these are going to be given away, and there's some bullet nuts in there and low profile nuts and all different mount hardware randomly tossed in there as well. But there's not that many of them, so I haven't really been in the hobby for that long. It's still pretty new to me. We have plenty of tiny ones down there, I suppose. And also, this is my favorite 3-inch in case something has gone bad with that stack. I've got a stack ready to go. Battery, uh, pigtail on there, and there's even a motor pre-soldered and ready to go. Not the best solder job, as you can see, they didn't twist, and that's kind of an issue. They just laid it on there. Um, did we pull a pad? Oh dear. No, no, we did not. I don't think that's no. We did not pull a pad. I don't think we did. I'll find out. So I just got a YouTube copyright complaint. Great. I wonder how could that even be possible? I generally only use music that they offer us to use. That's an old DYS light controller. Random stuff in there. I need to repair this camera if possible. It wasn't working before, but spare parts, just random shit in there. Spare motors, brushless off. I quit the brushed side of the Audi the other week, and I don't regret it. I hate to. You guys are still my brothers, but man, you're slow. Nah, I used to be a champion of the brushed quad, man, for sure. I used to love those things. Had a whole display on this side of the room with nothing but brushed quads on top of where the headphones are now. I sold every last monkey chinking one of those brushed quads, man. They gone, okay? So, just saying. To each his own, right? To each his own. But for me, I need more power and speed. And, yeah. So, while we have the props off, I'm going to go ahead and put these nuts to the side and get ready for our next setup. Where did I put that thing? Shit. Oh, it's sitting on it. So these are the props you're going to put on there next. So drop your nuts in there so you'll be ready. These are the props that are going on if it goes back in the air at all. Just while we're waiting for the real props to show up. Because yeah, these are like backup. And they're not bad, but I usually do it like if even a nick or something happens, swap them out. They're cheap, that's what they're for. These are not gym fans or anything expensive or nice. If they go, let them go. Alright, so we have everything we need here. In the meantime, see the checks these out. And yeah, okay, so now I'm going to take a break here at this point and roll a joint. And you don't have to watch this because it's probably going to be ugly. I don't want to hear any comments. I was rolling joints since before most of y'all were born. I know what I'm doing. And those giant paper mache spit creations where people are making joints that look like all kinds of works of art and shit. Like, damn, son. Alright, so we got our props and our quad that's going in. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need. Our shop lipo or bench lipo. Bench lipo to me is just a partially flat lipo that I'm using inside on the bench for testing purposes. So I'm trying to get back in the air or whatever. I'm trying to triage right now. I want to throw this hot glue gun away, this hot glue away because I don't know if it's poisonous to my cat or not. He likes to eat anything. The other day he ate an XM plus XM antenna. It was this one right here, actually. It didn't have the heat shrink on it, and he was able to eat the whole thing. Shit. So yeah, watch your cats. These things are not good for them to eat. Remember, this thing has the full turn on it. 180 or 90, whatever. I don't need to be worried about that right now. I just need to roll my J and you know, just think to myself here. When I get back from my break, I'm going to start with what? When I get back from my break, I'm gonna Jesus. I'm gonna continue with triage. There are some other things I need to do, but I don't feel like doing it. So I'm gonna continue with this. All right. See you in a little while, guys. Or actually, no one's watching. See you in a little while. Nobody.